Go ahead.
Caveat, does it have to be from a movie or can it be from a Disney TV show?
It can be from whatever.
Daishi from Power Rangers. That fell under Disney.
Okay, that is true. Yes, in the back.
Ursula.
Ursula. All right. Anyone else? Yes. Scar. All right.
Back in the 80s.
Ooh, he's a good one. Good. Hans from Frozen. All right.
That was a nice twist nobody saw coming.
Yeah, he was definitely a twist that we did not see coming because we all expected him to be Prince Charming, and then he turned out to be the horrible villain.
Little girls will not trust the handsome man ever again.
The Hunter from Bambi.
Ooh, Hunter from Bambi.
I'm gonna invite you to check out our podcast. Our most recent episode, we did a teaser for this weekend, and we talked about him. So
We did.
I'm gonna invite you to check out our podcast.
Anyone else? Oh, yes, in the back. I'm sorry?
You said Maleficent.
Ooh, the Mistress of All Evil. Very good choice.
Or Angelina Jolie.
Either one, it's good.
Aren't they the same?
Yeah.
No.
Frollo? Ooh, he is definitely an evil dude. Evil dude.
All right. Well, I think we're at time.
We got about 1 more minute.
1 more minute. Damn thing. We have a fair minute.
So, this is our first time ever hosting a panel. So, if we, do something wrong, just bear with us and don't be too critical, please.
All right. So.
For anyone in the back, do you mind just shutting the door? Just want to make sure that we can hear everybody and you guys can hear us. If you can't, you can't. I was just trying to. Okay, there we go. Ah, okay.
Said technical difficulties. Sometimes they're doing.
All right, you want to get started?
Okay, so welcome to the Disney Villains Who Weren't Wrong panel. We are the Mc&Marren podcast group. Hopefully you guys will like what you hear today and you'll go listen to our podcast.
Just some introductions. I'm Justin.
I'm Tori.
I'm Colin.
All right, let's get started. So a bit of a disclaimer here. Our thoughts and opinions are our own. We do not, and in this panel, are no way affiliated with the views of the Walt Disney brand or company, Arkansas Comic Con, or VXV events. Like I said, our thoughts and opinions are our own. We don't share anything with the companies.
We don't speak for the brand or the company.
Exactly. This panel is meant to be a lighthearted discussion and potential debate. As we're going through each villain, we'll have a little bit of time to talk about if anyone has a different opinion, or if you want to share it to the end with a longer opinion, you can. And subject matter will remain in a PG rating. We will do our best to be friendly. We will be family friendly. That involves no cursing and no foul language. All right.
That goes for y'all as well as us.
Yes, exactly.
Especially us.
Yeah.
Especially. All right. I can read the ground rules from here, so I'm going to try and remember them off the top of my head. Yay. Okay. So first up, if you have a differing opinion or you want to debate or talk with us about one of our opinions, raise your hand.
We will try and get to everyone else.
Yes, we will try and get to everyone. We will be discussing the Disney characters in their original animated formats, with the exception of one, which you'll see who that is in a little bit. We will not be discussing prequels, sequels, or anything that was not around when the original thing came out. So, for example, if we're going to talk about, give me a villain. Maleficent. We are not going to talk about the live action. We're not going to, which I think the live action is a very great version. I do love it. But we're not going to talk about it because we're going to talk about them in their original formats. These are the formats in which most people originally came to love them.
That also includes the direct-to-video sequels and all other things. We are not including those in this panel discussion.
Yeah. Just one final thing is, while we encourage you to debate and talk and maybe even disagree with us, we ask that everybody be respectful.
Yes.
So, obviously, because we are limited on time, we can't do every villain that Disney has ever done. It's just not possible, okay? So we've limited it to 5 characters for today. The first 3 are the Captain's Hook.
Long John
Long
Silver.
John Silver.
Long John Silver and Captain Gantu. And the last 2 are Urusla and the Queen of Hearts.
Yes, I saw. Yes, I saw that. I saw it online. I was so excited we were coming to this panel.
Yes. And we'll go over in a little bit more detail of each villain and each panel.
So, just a little brief thing before we move on. When we say Disney villains who weren't wrong, this can mean a lot of things. We're not saying that what they did was right, but we're saying we can see the logic behind it. We can see why certain people do certain things, and maybe they weren't entirely wrong.
Yeah. So, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started with Captain Hook. So, for a little bit of background on the character, he is the villain in the 1953 version of Disney's Peter Pan. He is captain of his ship, the Jolly Roger. He lives in Neverland, and he's been described by his crew as elegant, dastardly, but bumbling. So the reason why he isn't wrong, in our opinion, is that if you actually remember in the movie, his whole motivation is to essentially go after Peter Pan. Why? Because Peter Pan, in a duel, a friendly duel, by the way, cut off his hand and fed it to the crocodile. Now, I don't know about you, but that would royally tick me off. So he has been trying to go after Peter Pan ever since. Now, if you also remember in the movie, he does not, he does not hurt or harm any of his friends in any sort of way. Yes, he goes after the Lost Boys, but that's because of his association with Peter Pan. He ties up the Lost Boys and Wendy and actually offers them a place in his crew. And yet, this is all a distraction to go after Peter. The other people are not harmed in any sort of way. So, in other words, Captain Hook isn't a bad guy. He's just trying to, go after Peter Pan as sort of misguided form of revenge.
Can we first give a shout out to the crew member who had the nerve to call him bumbling? I mean, that's a rough day for him.
I believe he was the one playing the accordion.
Probably. That's probably the I do think there is room for a little bit of debate, especially with the phrase "friendly duel." Is there ever such a thing as a friendly duel?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. If you have a thing, raise your hand, please. You can't see everybody.
I mean, but still. Is there anyone who doesn't agree that he was potentially right?
Anyone disagrees? Feel free to raise your hand if you do.
Yes.
All right. Go ahead and explain.
Accidents happen.
Accidents happen.
That is very true.
Who started that first school?
That we don't know that. That is great. We don't know who started this.
So if Hook started it,
That is true. Go ahead.
Were terms of naming not discussed beforehand, in which case neither side would know the rule for them.
That is true. Although with Peter being a 8-9-year-old kid, he probably was like.
Who, may or may not know the kids when they get to teenage years.
Yeah, so there's a lot about Peter Pan we don't know. We know that he goes to Neverland, he takes other kids to Neverland, and these kids never grow up.
So they're stuck in that potential mindset of even though they know the rules, that doesn't mean they'll follow them.
Yeah. And Captain Hook is essentially, with the exception of some mermaids and some Native Americans, the pirates and Captain Hook are like the only adults that we see in Neverland.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make them bad, that makes them adults. No.
Go ahead.
But what adult is in the right when they're pointing a sword at an 8-year-old?
That is fair statement.
See, that's a good debate question.
That is a fair statement.
Which child is in the right when they're being attacked by, or when they're attacking an adult?
They're a child. That's the thing.
With the knife, who can fly?
It was so remains the same age for so long. There's only a certain point where it's like, well, they're still a kid.
Yeah.
They had that life experience, unless like their brain doesn't officially develop, they should theoretically.
See, that's never discussed. I feel like that's a good plot hole. Maybe Disney will expand upon one day. But
Maybe.
I that's where I'm thinking is that Peter's a 8-year-old boy. He's been 8 for at least long enough for Wendy to get the story.
Yeah. At least, maybe 30, 40, 50 years.
Oh,
Something
so
like
he's
that.
not 8.
The logic only follows when he's a kid who's growing sequentially. Like this stuff is even if he doesn't have like a mature logic, he has the lived experience.
Yeah. So, Mark,
also, one point possibly toward Hoagie is that they're literally kidnapped to get to Neverland in the first place. No matter how you go, you're trapped there unless you have a certain, unless you befriend a pixie to get you out of there in the first place. So, how do we know Peter didn't trap him?
That reminds me, I don't know if any of y'all read the comic book series Fables, but Will Winningham, who was the author of that series, he actually originally wanted Captain Hook to be the hero, Peter Pan to be the bad guy, but he couldn't get the rights, so he had to change it to Geppetto instead. Alright.
Alright, so before we move on, let's just take a quick poll of hands. How many people think that there is an element where Hook wasn't wrong?
Raise your hand.
You're not getting points, you're not getting judged, it's free space. Alright.
Who thinks that even though what we just said, Captain Hook is still in the wrong? Alright.
Who thinks that there's like some weird middle ground that we need more information and Disney should provide this?
Alright. That is a very good
Reminds me of those Reddit stories, am I in the wrong? It's like the judgment, not enough information.
Exactly.
Alright, well,
So we have
next.
3 buckets.
Yeah. So next up, we have our next captain, which is Long John Silver. Yes, he is technically a captain, even though he's only captain for a short time.
And now we have 2 actually versions of Long John Silver. We have the one from the underrated Treasure Planet,
Yes.
Woo!
and the iconic Tim Curry from the Muppet Treasure
Yes.
Island. So let's just take a moment to appreciate all of Tim Curry.
If you have not seen, yes, he is the man who wants to be a Muppet, but if you have not seen either of these versions, they are great ways of telling the story of Treasure Island. Like you said, Treasure Planet is so undervalued and so underrated. And then Muppet Treasure Island, I feel like not enough people pay attention to it because it's a Muppet movie and people automatically assume that Muppets are for kids. No.
There's a lot of
Tricks are for kids, Muppets are for everyone.
There's a lot of jokes that will definitely fly over your head as a kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
So because of that, this is our exception to the original animation because we had to open it up for Tim Curry's character. So both of these men, they are essentially the same character, just one's a cyborg and one is a dashing Tim Curry.
One talks to puppets.
And one talks to Muppets. So Long John Silver was originally a member, spoiler alert if you have not read or seen any iteration of Treasure Island. Silver was originally a member of the crew of Billy Flint, which originally went and hid the treasure that we were searching for. Flint left his people behind, basically mutiny, piracy, and now we are several years down the road, and Silver and his crew are going to find the treasure. While we're on this journey, he befriends the cabin boy, Jeb Hawkins, who has the map, who's going to help us get there, he's got the compass, all fine and dandy. He is very supportive. He teaches him things on the ship that are very important to know. And I think the biggest argument for why Silver should not be considered a villain is actually from the song from Professional Pirate from Muppets. I will not sing it, I will spare you all. But the line, take Sir Francis Drake, Spanish all despise him, but to the English he's a hero, and they idolize him. It's all about how you look at the character. So, Long John Silver, and really this could go to any of the villains, but they don't see themselves in the wrong. They see themselves as going after what is for them and what is right in their story. Silver is simply going back to get the treasure that he is owed.
And if you guys remember in Treasure Island, or Treasure Planet rather, Long John, Captain Silver, doesn't hurt Jim in any way. he goes to when he's running away with the map, but he ultimately can't do it. And even when his crew is going after him, he actually tries to play the peacemaker and tries to have Jim give up peacefully. He never wants to harm Jim in any sort of way. He sees him as a surrogate son. So he does not want to hurt him.
Bad guy with a heart of gold. Just because you're a bad guy doesn't mean you're a bad guy. Yes, I know that's Wreck-It Ralph, but still.
Another truly underrated Disney film.
All right, so Long John Silver, let's hear it. Yes.
So, if I remember this correctly, he also sneaks onto the crew, into the crew of the ship, and at least shows the planet, to make sure he can get the opportunity for that in the first place. Meaning he's, first of all, not bought a ticket to get on board that ship, had any kind of actual working expedition, and is solely getting on there to hijack it. So, with that being the baseline of his entire plan,
I'm going to quote Captain Jack Sparrow here and say, pirate.
yes, but
in that
is that the right thing to do?
it may not be right, but in the mutiny, again, he doesn't harm anyone. He just takes them prisoner.
Also, in regards to him and his crew being there, in both versions, it is they were hired by the professor guy.
So it's kind of like lying on your resume.
In both cases, it gets called out for hiring the worst crew I've ever seen.
Go ahead.
Same thing, they're still pirates. At the end of the day, they're pirates. That means they stole that treasure. That wasn't his to begin with.
So was it to him?
If you steal the treasure, and then the treasure was stolen from you,
It's still
who's
stolen
the real
treasure.
victim?
The one the treasure came from. Unless they're dead.
It's just a cycle now.
Yeah, it's just a cycle.
Hey, if you play Nazi songs, make everything I just call your parents here.
You and the over there. Sorry.
Full disclosure, I haven't seen either of these movies, but what I want to say is that y'all keep on saying they just took them prisoner. That's not physical harm, but that's still mental harm.
That is true.
We don't talk about psychological harm, and there are a lot of Disney villains. Not necessarily their actions aren't bad, but the terror they cause you.
Yeah, they do leave some psychological scars there.
To be fair, some of this is, we're Disney. We can't have the good guys die.
For Muppet Treasure Island, there's literally the line when Flynn, played by Billy Connolly, is dying, and Rizzo the Rat goes, "He died? This is supposed to be a kid's movie."
It's okay if Scroot just goes off into the void and is never seen again.
Then you can bring it back later.
It's open to interpretation. We could bring them back.
But it's okay if we don't see it. If it's off screen. If it's not one of the main characters.
Anyone else?
But I do like that.
Pirates are fair.
Anyone else?
So you said it was because of the pirates thing. The British military are actually the ones responsible for the majority of pirates at the time. Because they were literally paying different rogue sailors to go and attack all the Spaniards, because screw the Spanish, they do not get the bottom half of the entire globe.
Language.
Yeah. Not to sound like Steve Rogers, but there are young children here.
All right, so I feel like we're wrapping up on Silver. Okay, so how many people think he might have been a little right? Okay, all right, small thing. How many people think he was a lot of wrong? And how many people think that Tim Curry has an amazing ability as an actor? We can all agree on some things.
Yes. All right. Well, with all that being said, let's move on to Captain Gantu.
Now, Captain Gantu is from the original animated version of Lilo and Stitch. As you know, the remake came out recently. And that's what I'm going to say about that. Anyway, he is considered a villain because of his antagonistic role towards Stitch and Lilo in the movie as well as in the show. Talking about But in the movie, it is very villainous how he goes after him. You know, he's destroying everything in his path. He captures an innocent native to lure Stitch into a trap, which, yeah, forgot about that.
I was gonna go with he captured an innocent experiment.
But, considering how dangerous Stitch is, and he's under orders to capture a dangerous experiment, which the weirdest thing is when you watch Lilo and Stitch back, they're not going to destroy him. Their whole thing is just to leave him on some barren planet in the middle of nowhere. They're not planning on killing him, which is the weirdest part, because you think, oh, he's so dangerous, we need to give it. Nope, just not like a spider in your house.
I'm gonna counter argument you real quick here on Stitch. First off, is that Stitch is innocent because at the time that we first meet Stitch, he is on trial with the Grand Council, and the only crime we see him commit is to curse in front of the Grand Councilwoman. That's the only thing we know.
Correction. Jumba is the one on trial. Stitch is the evidence.
Yes, Stitch is the evidence. So therefore, that makes him even more innocent. He's not even on trial. But they still condemn him.
Doesn't Stitch escape with
Oh yeah, he steals.
on his own with a lot of gunfire and a stolen ship crashing down?
He
steals
brings
a
out the mothership.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
burst it down.
All right, but back to Gantu, the big shark guy.
So basically, our whole point is that Gantu, it may be antagonistic towards maybe Nani and Lilo just because he's going after Stitch and they just happen to be in the way. But ultimately, at the end of the day, he's just he's a man doing his job who was hired by the Grand Council to find Stitch, Jumba, and Pleakley and bring them back.
A very big space fish.
Side poll that was not planned for today. Is Gantu a shark? Yes or no? Raise your hand for yes. Okay, apparently not.
Okay.
I think he's whale.
Okay, so does anyone, with all that being said, does anyone have a counter argument or have any other statements about Captain Gantu? You over there.
Captain Gantu was only doing what he was hired to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he was the one that put the scientists on trial. I mean, he was on trial for a reason because he makes a lot of dangerous subjects, and they didn't want that getting out. So they hired him so they can catch Stitch because he's dangerous.
Yeah.
And Stitch had the potential of being dangerous. It's just that they already knew it, but the people that's in the movie, the main characters, they didn't know that. So the scene that he was he completely destroyed the whole beach after the flash photography happened, that whole incident, and then when he almost drowned because of his fear of water. So it's not like Stitch is completely innocent, but it's something that he just cannot help. It's in his nature.
Yeah. Anyone else? Yes. Stephen.
Also, he is an alien, so the ideas of good and bad and what we do might not be the same as
That's a good point.
That is a very good
So
point.
that's one of the reasons why some of the Disney has a long list of villains. A lot of them got discounted because they are animals, and we're like, are they sentient enough to understand the difference between good and evil, or not? So that led to but in this case, I think he knows not to take an innocent person prisoner.
But then do they see them as a person, or do they see them like a being? Because at the end of the day, he's
A lower being. Yes.
yeah,
That
like
is a good point, because the only thing stopping them from wiping out the planet is the mosquito.
But all I'm hearing here is that Gantu was right. He's not. That's all I'm hearing here is that Gantu is good. Is not a bad guy.
You in the back.
I think Gantu is completely justified, mostly because Stitch paid him. He's not.
I mean, yeah, to be fair, that is pretty certain. And there was another hand wrapped up. Yes.
I was gonna say Lilo, basically they were aiding and abetting Stitch without knowing it and not knowing potentially how dangerous he is. So you could also argue that Gantu is just also trying to protect them and Earth.
Yeah, because in the beginning of the movie, Jumba essentially has created Stitch to essentially destroy a whole city. And that, when he's trying to escape the island, and Leo says, thank goodness we live on a small island with no large cities, and then he faints because he's like, come on, people. So yeah, Jumba did create him to be a weapon of mass destruction, so.
Sora, I'm going
Okay, so I completely agree with you, but the excuse of he was following orders isn't great, because you know who else uses that excuse? Bad German men from the 1940s.
Oh,
Yeah, that is fair. That is a deep cut.
That got dark quickly.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
but Jumba actually means it.
Before we move on, because I don't remember if you said this. If you already said this, I am sorry. In case you're wondering who made the cut and why, all of these people are listed on the official Disney list of villains. So Disney does consider these people villains. Now, if you ever have a chance, go enjoy the list. It's a very long and extensive thing, and they categorize them based on the tier of level of villains. So your top tier villains, your lower tier villains, your sidekicks, and he was a bad guy in a cartoon one time.
Yeah, so the way we kind of narrowed it down was that we kind of focused on for lack of a better word, the main pantheon of Disney villains, like their original animated feature films, because they also had like Star Wars, Marvel, all these other franchises that Disney's a part of. But we're like, we're going to focus on.
We would be here all day.
Yeah, we'd be here all day. We'd be focusing on the other main pantheon. I know we have 2 questions, and then we'll just move on. Okay, so guy in the back.
So I'll say he is a villain because he was a jerk from the get-go. He had no reason to be for Stitch, and that literally is what led to the whole Stitch fighting him and escaping and everything else.
That is true. Okay, last point.
He's a law enforcement guy who's out of his jurisdiction, didn't once try to get in contact with any form of government, anything on the earth, even though they had interest. Vito Bubbles talked about how he's the one who convinced them of the mosquito population thing. They know there is a governing body over parts of the earth that they should have worked with, because he is a cop. That's part of what you do. And he did not do proper procedure. He just went guns blazing in a civilian area.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not the bad guy?
That is a fair statement.
See,
All
this
right.
is what we mean by debate. This is a good debate. We're all getting good.
All right.
I'm not sure, but was he a cop or was he a mercenary? I don't remember if
He got fired from being a cop in the movie. He became a mercenary for the TV series.
I believe at the beginning he is an officer of the court.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All right.
So unfortunately, we have to move on. So let's talk about Ursula.
So Ursula is the villainess for the 1989 Little Mermaid. Side note, not related, but kind of, if you have not gotten a chance to meet Jodie Benson downstairs, please take the time to do so. She's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, she is an absolute sweetheart.
So Ursula is this wonderful sea witch octopus character that we all know and love. And she is described as power-hungry and devilish. Now, here's the argument that I make for Ursula. And I actually came up with another one this morning, but we're going to start with my original ones, is that Ursula is teaching Ariel very important lessons, though Ariel does not know that at the time. The first lesson, which applies to not just girls, but applies to everyone, is read the terms of your contracts. Read the terms and conditions.
Read the fine print.
Read the fine print. Number two is to when you say you're going to do something, you honor your commitment. If you have been contracted for X, Y, and Z, you deliver X, Y, and Z. The last one, which I think is the most important lesson she teaches Ariel, although I don't even think she realized that she was teaching at the time, but now I think she might have, is that don't change yourself to chase after a guy who doesn't even know what you look like. And I was listening to Poor Unfortunate Souls this morning on the drive to the convention center, getting in the right mindset for today. And when she's talking about the men up topside, above the sea, they don't like girls who chatter. They think girls who gossip are boring. It's much preferred for women to be silent. if you think about it, she is very casually saying, this is a bad idea. These are not the kind of guys you're going to want to go after. This is a waste of your time. But if you really want to do it, here's the contract. I can't stop you. Now, were her actions, or was her original intention honest? No.
Absolutely not.
She is a businesswoman. She is trying to get her place in power. She even tells us that her people originally were in the palace, and then Trident took over. She's trying to get back to power. So yes, everything she does and says has to be taken with a very fine grain of salt. But she does teach a very important lesson, so.
Alright, go ahead.
First up, counter argument. That's not why Ariel wanted to be on land in the first place. She wanted to go up there just for scientific reasons because she is an explorer. That's why she had all the stuff from the surface world. She wanted to be part of that world. Romance was never on her mind until after she got up there with Ariel.
But I mean, it is what romance is what Comforter finally actually wanted. Like,
No,
she could have made the
blowing up
plunge
at her
beforehand, and then she did it. Well, it's what got her the contract.
Yes, that is what got her the contract.
Ariel was 16 years old. She couldn't have signed a contract. That was a predatory contract.
I made that same comment earlier today, but for that I say that falls under Trident for not establishing boundaries on what laws can be established, what conduct can be established.
Yeah, and also,
International law.
kind of going off of that for a second, it also kind of like, it's like, depending on the state, you can consider an adult at like 16, 17, 18. We don't really know what the rules of what's considered an adult in Atlantica. I mean, for all we know, Ariel could be considered an adult at 16.
Also, and this is just a weird thing regarding Ursula's character. You mentioned this before. She says she used to be in the palace.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? When the Broadway musical came out, they talked about her being her aunt.
But we're not talking about that.
Well, let me finish. Okay? And with the recent remake and that new TV show for kids being released, they outright go full on. She is Ariel's aunt, according to Disney, which raises a whole bunch of questions on how whatever she is related to her people. I mean, I get the half people part. I'm wondering about where the octopus and the fishtail.
Poseidon gets around.
They're
like
cousins, okay?
Yeah.
Like they're 3 times removed.
You in the back.
Regardless of the terms of the contract, Ariel would have fulfilled her bargain if Ursula hadn't interfered with it.
That is a good point, because she did have Flotsam and Jetsam capsize the boat.
Once again, go check out our podcast because we talked about this. We talked about Flotsam and Jetsam and the role they played.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
To counter that, there was no clause in there at all about interference.
Yeah.
So, you said that Ursula was her aunt. Well, the aunt was just doing a favor. We all have aunts that always do us a favor against the parents. So, she was just trying to help a girl out. That's what she was trying to do.
In her own way, she's just helping out her niece.
Exactly. It's that thing of, this is what you want.
Yeah,
It's a stupid idea,
you can't
but
talk
I
about the
can't
word that you
stop you. I'm going to try, but you're not going to listen, so here, do it anyway, and I'm going to get what I want out of this anyway.
I'm going to steal a quote from Gravity Falls, but amend one word so it fits. Wow, sounds like something a responsible adult would want to do. Good thing I'm an aunt. Good thing I'm an aunt.
Alright, I think...
I was going to say, so who thinks that Ursula may be a little bit right? Anybody besides me? I feel like mostly the girls can see it, but...
Now, what does that say?
That's a whole other thing.
Ariel's the one behind the plan.
Yes, and even though she was 16, and that is a predatory contract.
Man, she was trying to help her out.
She was shown if you fail.
So,
And that brings me back to my lesson that she was being taught. Read your contracts.
So, even though, despite what we just said, who thinks that Ursula is still in the wrong? Who is undecided? Or there's some wiggle room there? All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our final villain, the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland.
Terrible person.
Alice herself in the middle of the courtroom after she grows, what was it, 50 feet tall, and calls her a fat, pompous, bad-tempered old tyrant. That is just mean. Granted, she is a kid.
She had dementia.
But that is just way too far. So, fun fact, we'll think for the book. In the book, Queen doesn't kill anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Now she says, off with their head. And then, when she turns away, the king pardons the cards and sends them on the way. Because she can't be bothered to remember which card's which.
I mean, there are 52 of them.
They're cards! She's the queen! Also,
that's the book.
Yeah, to be fair, this book. But
also, regardless of the book, most everyone is mad here, including her. And this is not mad as an angry, although
hers is mad as an
she is
angry.
angry most of the time. And she does have moments where she's nice when things are going her way.
Well,
but she is insane. Everyone is insane.
Well, the whole point of Wonderland is to show how silly the world looks from the eyes of a child. And when we meet the Queen, she is regal, she is genteel, she invites Alex to play croquet. I don't know why we're using flamingos, but still. It's Wonderland. That's the least word. But she is what you would expect of a queen, of a royal. But then she doesn't get her way. And immediately there's a temper tantrum, which is essentially what it is. Do temper tantrums make you worthy of the villain pantheon? No, because then it'd be filled with 2-year-olds.
Also, there's two things here. One, this is all the time anyway.
It is.
So, there's no real threat. Two, she's insane and, legally speaking, can't be held accountable for it.
That's only if they can prove it. Because how many times has the Joker gotten out of Arkham Asylum? Anyway.
Why did we send him back?
Because Jason Todd didn't have the book.
Because if we didn't send him back, it would get boring.
Alright,
But the Queen of Hearts, back to the topic. The Queen.
So, I did see some hands raised. Anyone else want to debate?
In the back.
Okay, so you brought up Joker and Arkham. He's still a villain. He's a psychopath. He beats people half to death. He kills a lot of people for no reason. There was one time he stripped a guy of his skin and threw him out on a stage. Is she any different if you're drawing that comparison? She's insane. She shouldn't be doing this. She should be in the mental institute of some sort. But she's still a villain. She's still insane.
But again, what's the quote from Wonderland? We're all mad here.
All right.
So who's the sane person in a world full of mad people? Anyway, go ahead.
The gentleman sitting next to the Queen of Hearts. Be careful what you say.
So I believe it's all situational. She grew up having everything that she wants. So when you have a kid like that that's royal, and you give them everything that they want, and you never tell them no, of course they're going to be a little tyrannical, and of course they're going to be bad tempered because it's not her fault; it's the parents' fault. Then on top of that, she owed. So like I said, that she developed a little early onset dementia, just a little bit, but. I mean, it's how she was raised, and she was raised poorly.
Yeah. But even if you have a poor ability to regulate emotions, does that mean, or mental instability, whatever, does that mean that you still have a lack of accountability for your actions?
And that's what the court definition of insanity is, because a lot of court proceedings, they basically, essentially, as the argument is, because of your mental illness or because of whatever you have mentally, do you still understand that your actions were wrong? And some people don't see it as wrong, or they just don't understand what they did was wrong. So that has to be taken into account there.
Now, another point to bring up is that she's not completely sold on killing Alice. Because the king manages to talk her into doing a trial. If she wanted Alice dead, there's no reason to do a trial.
Off with her head, be done.
Also, she got the
she caves to the queen, to the king, and they have a trial. During which trial, they throw her in a birthday party, and she completely forgets about the entire trial, about Alice being sentenced to have her head cut off. If Alice wasn't a stupid kid, she should have played it off.
Alice had to
But then
open
the
her
cat got
mouth.
Yes. Go ahead.
I would say since they're all mad there, I would have set that aside.
Okay.
They're all under the same thing.
Yeah.
But I would say we know way too many people that are rich, spoiled, have no boundaries, don't treat people like they're people.
That's true.
And we should not excuse that.
Oh, no.
She is a villain.
Okay.
That is good.
That is a very good point. I like that. Yes, you in the back, in the Kirby hat.
See how she just basically, her first option is to just execute people, her cards. I don't think that there could be an argument that that's good. Like, regardless of upbringing or backstory or anything else.
Okay.
So, yeah, villain.
Okay.
Are we sure Alice wasn't on questionable substances?
We are very
Mushrooms were
confident
eaten?
that Alice wasn't questionable substances.
There's a mushroom hole, clearly.
Yeah. Yeah, got it. In the parts.
Oh, so I'm just asking a good question here. Like, has she ever seen someone beheaded? Does she even know what offer their head means? Is she just saying it like, okay, offer the heads, like, get out of the room, basically? Because, like, she forgets everything.
That is a good point.
Literally, when she sees the ace, whatever, painting her roses red, she says, off with their heads. The rest of the cards cheer. And they take them off screen, and we never see them again.
So she might not know what that means.
Yeah,
I like that argument.
I like that. Okay, we just have you two guys, and we'll have to move on. So go ahead.
There's also simply the fact of what laws do we know that they have? They can't be beholden to our legal statutes. However, morally speaking, she does not have a high ground in the majority of things. She's willfully being people off to their debts for minor inconveniences, and just being generally not only unreasonable, but it's an unreasonability that's causing people grief and or harm mentally or physically.
And this is why there's a difference between moral and legal standard.
Yeah, so morally,
because
villain,
legally, in Wonderland, always
are her ways.
So, yes.
Just putting the insanity and all that stuff aside, because in the world of insane, she's sane to them. She's still the queen. Her word is law. Everything that she says is technically right. Whether or not she changes her mind later, it's still at the end of the day, her word is right. So everything she does is technically within their legal bounds.
Now, I was wrong before. We do have time for a little bit more discussion on these parts.
Well, we can, or we can.
All right. Well, actually, that was an informed opinion. So let's go ahead and open the floor for anyone else who has any other Disney villains that they think who weren't wrong or we didn't talk about. If you do have one, please raise your hand, and again, please be respectful, and we'll try and get to everybody as much as we can.
The guy over here, glasses.
Ladies, he was banished to the underworld, and he was never invited for anything else the gods wanted. He was abandoned. No one else liked him, so he had to force his way into anyone to make sure of him. He was tired of that, and so he just did something about it after years. And Zeus banished the Titans, which ruled before they did, which are technically their parents and uncles. So he trapped them in Tartarus. So Hades basically just freed their parents and uncles to reclaim their world, and he just asked for them to help.
Okay. Similarly, he is also a businessman.
He is also a businessman.
He's a man of his word.
Yes, he is. But also, regarding Hades, it is a bit weird getting involved with a bunch of other things when your main job should be tending to the dead.
That's what Thanatos is there for.
No, he's there to bring the dead to the underworld. Hades' job is to take care of them while they're in the underworld.
Yes,
no, that's Charon. Charon's the one who brings them there. Thanatos is the one who helps sift through them.
Yes, go ahead.
I wanted to bring a different villain.
Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mentioned Hans earlier, so I'm not going to say that he's like completely in the right for what he did, and this kind of relies on some supplement material, but and there's some supplement material that I'm kind of rusty on it, but that we have given some, and it is considered official, even though, to my knowledge, I could be wrong here, but to my knowledge, it's considered official. That he is, as he says in the movie, that he is the 13th son of his family, and that he was treated like really poorly by his family. Like he would always get like the last to pick up food. Like he was always treated really badly by his older brothers, and he never was going to get a chance to rule otherwise. Now, does that make what he did to Anna right? Absolutely not. But he did have a bad upbringing, which can kind of like more explain what he did. Not excuse it. I wouldn't really say he was right, but I do like feel like that he deserved better than just being punched in the face and never seen again. He wasn't just evil for him. More so.
I mean, yeah, I guess in his mind, being the 13th son, that this was really his only way to essentially be a ruler, because, like you said, there's no in his line. He will have to either all of his brothers would have to die, or he would have, or something would have happened to make them not fit to rule. So that is a good point.
Well, it raises the question about his intelligence, because Anna's not going to be queen that he knows of. She's a princess.
Duh, but like, I mean,
Maybe
it gives him more than he had before, because he felt like he tried to manipulate the situation with that man.
Well, maybe that was like step one of his plan, was to move Anna and then get to Elsa.
That's what I
He literally says in the movie that no one was getting in with her. You!
Granted, Elsa was kind of
Yeah. That is true. Alright,
I do want to go back to the Hades discussion real quick. I love your points. Those are great points, because I made those with him when we were arguing about it. And I do think that a key note for Hades, other than he is everything he said, and him being a businessman, is I got it there. When I had it, it went away.
and the train ran
off the tracks. Ultimately, I remember. I know what the argument was. The Fates have already declared what's going to happen with the Titans, that they're going to be unleashed. So I don't think it's fair to say that to blame Hades for it, because if not Hades, who? Someone would have done it. Fates already said it.
Yeah. Anyone else have another villain to talk about, or?
Let's go with you. Clear your view.
Clue from Tron.
You're gonna have to give us a little bit of backstory with that one.
He's a carbon copy of Kevin Flynn with the purpose of creating the perfect system, and in doing so, creates whatever he thinks the perfect system is. So he's only doing what he was designed to do, but is seen as the villain.
So he's essentially. I'm sorry, I didn't hear, but he's Ultron.
He's a clown. Yes.
Ish, yes.
In a way, yeah.
So, further explanation, Clue is actually a recreation of the original program used by Kevin Flynn to Blue Value do things inside of the grid, which is basically this entire cyberspace world that connects to every point of internet and stuff. And then it was recreated in case of which is where Tron Legacy and he's talking about Kung Fu. What?
Okay.
So Clue was made to create a perfect system, and then the system started to create its own life and program, started to evolve. And so Clue saw that basically like we would see cancer and wanted to destroy it. You know, it's not what it was.
Okay.
Well, that gives us homework because I have not watched Tron, so thank you for giving me homework to do. I will watch it.
We did have one more hand raised over that. I want to make sure we get the point because then we have to kind of
We start wrapping it up.
wrapping up a little bit. So yes, you into that with the green.
The chef from Ratatouille.
That's a good one. Yeah, because
No, that's not the part that's the issue, though. It's the fact that the guy he was helping, he didn't necessarily actually know the rat was there. He also thought he could have gone insane. But he was keeping someone from finding out about their paternity. He was keeping someone from finding out about their, inheritance because it would affect his business.
Technically, he did send the DNA to a lab report to make sure.
Yes, but then he wasn't going to share that. He wasn't going to share anything with that with them. He was going to try and keep it a secret and get cut out of the kitchen as soon as possible with a legitimate reason to fire him.
all right. Well,
That is a good villain. That did we even go over him in our initial?
We went ahead and said no Pixar.
We decided no Pixar's this right. So that's right.
But that'll be if
So
we.
once again, shameless plug for the podcast for when we do Pixar villains.
Yep. If we ever do this again, we'll have to do Pixar.
Or at our next panel.
Speaking of the shameless plug, if you like what you heard or like our discussion, please check into our podcast. It's also called Mc&Marren. It's on Spotify.
It's also on Apple Music.
It's on Apple Music. We release new episodes weekly on Wednesdays. We talk about a variety of different topics within geek and nerd culture. Like actually, the 2 episodes before this, we were talking about the Disney parks and
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. So like we talk about a variety of things within the geek and nerd culture. Also, feel free to find us on Instagram again at Mc&Marren, and or if you want to scan the QR code here.
Or if you don't want to scan it now, you can come pick up a thing from.
All right. Well, I hope you all had.